everybody. My name's Mason War,
I'm Zach Bassett.
and this is the very first episode of Compounding Interests. This is something, I guess, new for both of us.
And it's actually compound interests.
Not,
Yeah, it's a
not
little bit hard to say.
compounding.
Yeah, not compounding interest.
Compound interest. Well, okay.
Yeah. So compound interests.
Let's try this all over again. Yeah, so anyway, so we wanted to give a little bit of background about what the goal of this podcast is. And I think we have quite a few different things we want to touch on. But for us, honestly, we recognize that there's a market that's not being hit very well. A lot of people, there's lots of business podcasts and there's lots of finance podcasts, but combining the two, I don't know if there's many that do that very well or consistently. And so Zach has been talking about this for years, Compound Interest Podcast, that it's something that is, something that he sees as incredibly valuable for people. And just to kind of give you guys a little bit of background about us, so we own and run the COS accounting business, and a lot of people call it cost accounting, and COS. And maybe just tell them COS, what is it? What does it stand for? What was your idea?
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. So COS accounting, it's not COS, but if you want to call it that, that's fine. But we call it COS accounting. That stands for Circle of Systems. So the whole idea is the synergies behind a circle, right? And how one part goes to the next, and it's round and round. And that's how I kind of just envision my business, is that each thing flows into the next. So it's not so much of a box or something different where there's stops and curves. It's all flowing. So that was kind of my thought in just the whole idea behind the name Circle of Synergies.
Okay.
We want each thing that we do, each process that we do, to flow quickly and comfortably and is honestly perfectly into the next process in the line or business even. So the idea is that there's going to be multiple businesses that will create great value for each client. So maybe right now we have COS accounting, where we're helping people to do all sorts of amazing things, from bookkeeping to payroll to taxes. We focus heavily on the 1099 contractor. So there's a lot of things that these young 1099 contractors need. And as we see those needs, we want to create synergies for the client. And in one way we've done that is to add in Fortress Financial, which does anything retirement planning related, or we have a bunch of money in brokerage accounts. We'll explain more about these things later, but we do anything from insurance to life insurance, car insurance, to retirement planning with Fortress, and that flows perfectly with the tax strategy type stuff, because many of the retirement plans actually come with a tax benefit, right? So those two flow perfectly. Then we look for the next thing that's going to flow. We found that a lot of these young door-to-door guys or any business owners oftentimes need lawyers, and so we've tracked down and through trial and error found the best lawyers that we can for each thing. You need a different lawyer for a contract than you need for if you're getting an audit by the IRS. Mm-hmm. You don't want to use the same lawyer for everything.
And I think you've used the term like a do-all attorney.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that going to a do-all attorney is just not giving you the best outcome. So by having this different attorneys in different areas, it helps us to synergize those things between one need to the next.
Yeah.
So we'll go from there. I know we have plenty of other ideas to go into the circle, with the biggest ideas being like, we'd love to have a bank that could help lend to people. Yeah. What are some of the other things?
I think what we've seen is like a lot, and this is kind of where the idea came from, was a guy like Deloy Hansen, who owned Real Salt Lake. I think he sold it by now, but what he did was he monopolized on multiple different businesses that all connected. And so, for example, if he bought a building, he would realize, wait, I'm spending a lot of money in window cleaning. So he would start a window cleaning business as part of his, his other businesses, and he would save on taxes for his building and for his window cleaning business. And then he'd say, hey, I need a gym for my building, and he'd start a gym, a full business, and he'll buy all the equipment, save on taxes that way. And he started monopolizing on every service that he needed, including collections and now he owns like the second largest garbage or waste management company in California or something. So what I think we're just trying to model it after other people that have done it. I think the tough thing is getting your name out there and getting started. And I think that's something that was hard for us from really, I mean, when you look back at where we've come from and what we've done basically everything. So at this point, so we've done whatever it takes to reach our goals.
I think we'll go into a lot of more depth onto what our goals are. But first off, I want each client that actually cares enough to watch these videos to understand who we are, to understand where we come from, and I want you to trust us. That's like number one, is trust. If you trust us, if you trust me, I am going to be able to coach you to become a multi-millionaire 10,000 times better than if you don't trust me or don't know me. So this gives you that chance to learn about who we are and to build that trust in us so that I can make you a multi-millionaire, so we can do that for you. That's the number one goal. I want to make my clients rich, and in turn I want to hopefully become rich in the process myself. But the last thing I want to do is to become wealthy by taking advantage of a small amount of people and just getting the most that I can out of each person. I want to do this for thousands, tens of thousands of people. And so that's what the podcast is for. I can reach tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of people through this medium, whereas before, I might have been reaching hundreds or maybe thousands, and just found that is no way to scale. You can't. And it is, it's selfish for me or any of my clients to think that I should be just one-on-one with them with a group of maybe 100 guys. I can do the exact same thing for you plus more if I'm doing things through this podcast and through the videos that we release through our upcoming app or through YouTube. But first thing, I kind of want to ask Mason, what was it that really got you going with us? First off, give me your background, and then go from there into when I first met up with you and asked you to join with me.
Yeah, I guess when I talk about my background, I go back to around the time I was in college, and during that time I started. I had a friend who did door to door, and there's so many people who have done some form of door to door sales, and obviously you've heard about people that billionaires who have done this sort of thing. And for me, I just saw it as an opportunity for me to make some money while I was in college. My friend went out and he made like, I think it was like $90,000 his first summer. And so obviously I'm coming in thinking, wow, that's amazing. I want to earn.
Was that Chase?
Yeah, it was Chase Williams.
Yeah.
So he and I were buddies, and he said, you should come out with us this next year. I went out and sold, and that was in 2008. And at the end of that summer, I ended up getting married. And then I graduated. So 2009, I was done, and I went on to I worked for a high tech company, Adobe, and I worked there for almost 4 years, and it was a good experience. I think I learned a lot, but I think I realized quite a few things about my person and who I wanted to become and what I wanted to do, and I realized that working for somebody else is something that was really difficult for me. I needed to be able to determine, how hard or, how successful or unsuccessful I was going to be.
Totally.
And then I went to, I decided to leave, which was a really hard decision because I was leaving benefits. I had kids. This was something that was, the risk for me was hoping that something would work out. And I guess, well, when I look back, I think, okay, the risk was staying and wishing and hoping something would work out. Yeah. And I decided I'm going to take the bull by the horns. I actually got a job with a commercial real estate company up in Salt Lake City. And I was going to work there. But in order to do that, you need you need clients and you need listings. And I had neither. And so I contacted Chase again and I said, hey, I'm leaving Adobe, and this was 2013, like June. And I said, can I come and work for you? And he said, yeah, come out and work. And I sold pest control for 2 months, part of July, part of August, and all of August, and then part of September. And in that 2 months, I earned more in that 2 months than I would have in a full year at Adobe. That's and crazy. For me, that was mind blowing. And that's kind of how you got involved, and it was actually through your brother that I contacted because he had messaged me and said he does taxes. And
you guys went on your mission together.
Yeah, we did. Right? Yeah, we served in Peru with Chase Williams, actually, so all three of us. So Jake and I started talking, and because I had no idea what it meant to go 1099 when you were coming from W-2. Yeah. And so I contacted him, and I'm like, hey, I don't even know what this means. And he goes, okay, perfect. We're going to set up an LLC for you, and we're going to tax it as an S corporation. And at the time, that meant nothing to me because it was all, tax jargon. It didn't make sense to me. So, okay, great. I trust you. Go ahead and do your thing. Yeah. And that's around that time, after that summer, that's when Jake decided to open up that branch in Provo. That's when you got involved, and that was like 2014, 2015.
Late 2014.
Late 2014. And then by then, you and I started going over there quite a bit, either to see Jake or you and I became friends. And I stayed selling pest control, and it wasn't the plan. I was actually going to go do commercial real estate, and then I talked to Chase, and he said, well, why don't you just stay, become a team leader here? And we looked at the difference, and the average real estate agent at the time was making like $80,000, and I'm like, that's good. That's like $50,000 more, to be honest, than I was making at Adobe, which is pretty depressing when I think about it. I was making like $30,000, so it's just hard. It's hard to even I'm like, what in the world? Why would I even accept that? Like, it's so low, especially when you come out, having a 4-year degree, and you have all these ambitions, and you're thinking that the sky's the limit, and you are limited for like 3.5 years. I was stuck at the same rate, basically, and so. We looked at the commercial real estate agent versus a team leader selling, doing door-to-door summer sales, and I said, oh, man, if I can recruit a team and if I can go out and sell, then I could do really well. And I ended up, I think that next year I made like $136,000 or something. So it was like almost 4 times what I was making at Adobe. Yeah. And for me, that's when I had a paradigm shift, and I recognized I could do anything. I could sell anything. This could be anything that I could do, and I did that for years. And I put together teams and worked in this. And then for some reason, and maybe it was my effort or lack thereof, or I don't know what it was, but for some reason I was spinning my wheels every single year. So for those who don't know, you sell door to door, typically the average time is like between May and August, and you're going out and hitting thousands of doors. And I think if I look at it, I've cold contacted like 100,000 people in all the years that I did it, and the goal is that the next year you come back, you recruit even more of these sales reps, you lead a team, and then now you have 2 teams, and it grows to 4 teams, and you have all these reps coming back. Well, for some reason, it didn't work out for me. I had like 6 of my team leaders go on to medical school or dental school or PA school or get an MBA.
Or get stolen by another.
Yeah, or they go to another company or whatever it was. And so that's where it got, really, it got challenging for me because I was spinning my wheels every year. And at that point, I had 3 kids. and we just had a baby, and I felt so bad for my poor wife. She's moving all over the country,
Yeah.
from Baltimore to Portland to LA to Houston to, everywhere. And it was about that time, actually, so the summer, like 2018, that summer, I was fully invested in flipping homes. That's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to go that direction. And I was taking a lot of time learning everything I could about flipping. I was actually going to doors, knocking on people that were losing their homes because they were getting notice of defaults. They couldn't pay their bills, and I was trying to save them from losing their home. Saying, I will buy your home, and I'll buy you out of your equity. You can go free. You won't lose it in bankruptcy. Let me help you.
Which is a cool strategy.
Yeah, which we'll talk about at some point. I'll teach everybody how to do that. So,
Yeah.
but it was. I wasn't getting the traction that I wanted or that I thought I could get, and
you went to Renatus too.
Yeah, so I worked. Yeah, so I joined an investment group called Renatus. They're incredible. It's expensive, but worth every penny in my opinion.
You went all in. You went all in.
Yeah, I was totally in, and in fact, I was stepping more and more away from recruiting and being a door-to-door salesman. And it was around that time that I had 3 homes. One of them was really struggling. One was on the market, and I didn't even know. I actually picked one up for just like $1,500. I picked up a home in Vernal, Utah for like $1,500, and it was like you would think that would turn out really well. Well, I could not find a buyer for the life of me. Like I tried everything that I could think of to get a buyer, and I couldn't. And I was having a rough time. And it was
paying all the mortgages.
Yeah, figuring all that stuff out. We had hard money lenders, and we had a few other resources, but like figuring these things out became really complicated, and I might have gotten a little over my head in terms of what I thought versus what I don't know.
What turned out.
Yeah, what actually turned out. So, and it was like right around that time that you contacted me, and if you had told me, right now we're 2020 in October, but if you had told me in even March or April of 2019 that you and I would be running an accounting firm, I would have been like, why? Why would I own an accounting firm? I'm not an accountant. That's not something that I do. And so that's a little bit about my history before. I guess we'll probably get into like a bunch of COS and how we got started and the struggles and just in terms of running a business. But that's like that's my history, like coming from sales and corporate. And I was in HR at Adobe. I was coming from something completely different than the traditional accountant. And so that was so that's kind of my background.
Cool. I'll give a little of my background and then we'll cut from there and to right where you left off, kind of, and going forward. So obviously I'm the accountant. He didn't do any accounting before linking up with me. Still hasn't done any accounting.
I haven't processed a single form.
That's not the reason for Mason.
I pay people to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. So, but I started out, going to school, Utah State. I got my 4-year degree in accounting, and then I decided to give door-to-door a try. It turns out that was a great idea in some ways, but for me, I get nervous just being on this podcast, and I've been doing stuff like this in front of people, crowds of 30. I've been in front of a crowd of 30 probably, 400 or 500 times, and then I've been in front of crowds of 1,000 before, and I still get nervous. Even if it's a crowd of 5 people, I get nervous, and I have a true fear of speaking in front of people, whether it's through a camera or being in person. So I like to tell that story just so people know, so that you can go, okay, yeah, that's why he's, he looks nervous. It's because I am.
That's why he's so weird.
Yeah, that's why he's being so weird.
Yeah.
But over time, I think I'll get more and more used to it. But but yeah, so if I'm nervous, give me a break. But yeah, so I was at school. I went off to do door to door. I went with like Derek Bowen, Casey Baugh, those guys at the time it was with Atlas, and we were selling Dish Network and DirecTV. It was one of the easiest sells in the history of door to door But for me, it was one of the hardest. Oh yeah, Luke and Mark Toon were also there. I ought to mention them. But yeah, I spent that summer trying to get over my horrendous fear of talking in front of people, and you know, it didn't work. I bageled, as they say, for the first.
Which means you got zeroed.
Yeah.
Like
So I
you
got
didn't get
zero
any
sales
Yeah.
for at least the first 30 days, and then I started catching on. I would get a sell, but it took so much out of me and my nerves that I started just selling until I could get one sell, which you guys know that's no way to be a salesman. You need to give it your all and go all day. So yeah, it ended up that I only made 10,000 or so that summer, but the bad thing about that summer is that the company went out of business, so I ended up not getting my back end check. None of
Which
the guys
is a commission
did.
check later,
Yeah.
usually later in the fall or in the winter. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, your biggest check. But yeah, none of the reps did. So it ended up not being a big deal that I didn't do that great. They gave us a chance to sign on with Apex, and if we would have signed, then they would have covered our back ends. That's why Casey Baugh and Luke Mark Toon and those guys went on to do really well as they took that deal. I didn't. Sometimes I wish I would have, to see if I would have had careers like they did. But, you know, I love the career I've had and I love where I'm at. But from there, that gave me so much of it gave me so much because I could then talk to people. You know, I couldn't talk to a cute girl. Like, trust me, I didn't have a girlfriend like up until that point. So I couldn't talk to a cute girl. I couldn't talk to guys. I was just awkward. So it really helped me to be able to get out of my shell. And without that summer, there's no way I'd be where I am today. So I'm very grateful for that summer. But yeah, I moved on from there, went back home, and
Which is home is?
home is in was Providence, Utah at the
Okay.
time, and living with my mom and dad. And then I decided I was going to go to school in Ogden, so I moved out to Ogden and got a job at Chuckarama and started getting my master's in taxation. And that's where I met my wife, Katie. The best thing that ever happened to me was meeting her. You know, obviously, you know, for me, you know me,
Mhm, yeah.
I needed her. She's done so much for me and still does so much for me to this day. And appreciate her. Want to give her a shout out, Katie. You know, I love you. I appreciate you more than anything. So thankful for you and everything you do for our family. To make it so I can do stuff like this, it's an incredible blessing, and I'm just super grateful for you. So yeah, I got my master's degree. My wife gave me that ability to believe in myself, and once she believed in me, I was like, you know what? I'm going for it. I'm gonna do everything that I ever dreamed of. And so I did. I started my own tax firm the same year I was going to school and working at Chuckarama. So I was doing 40-hour weeks at Chuckarama, all 40 hours on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then I'd go to school Monday through Friday and work on building my business every day of the week.
And how many clients would you say like you were able to acquire when you're starting your own?
To be 100% honest, I think I topped out at like 55.
Okay.
And it was between 50 and 60.
Yeah.
Before my brother, when I had got my first master's degree in taxation, and then I went on to get my MBA, Master's in Business Administration, and I still have to, the only thing I have to finish is the, what's the final class
Like
called?
capstone.
Yeah, the capstone class. And at the time, they didn't offer it online. So I'm going to finish that up, but virtually have the 2 master's degrees. And that's when my brother, Jake Bassett, he decided that, you know, we were both going after the same clients. We both knew that like door to door had no skilled accountants in it. I mean, there were very few.
Right.
And the ones that were skilled were incredibly expensive, charging $2,000 to $3,000 a year to do the strategy that we knew we could do for in the $500 to $600 range at the time.
Because of the volume that you could get.
Yeah.
If you could create a system that could produce
Yep.
these really quickly,
Yep.
either doing the taxes or doing the LLC and S Corp creation or whatever it was like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Creating a synergy by specializing in
that
one
one
area.
specific
We were
thing,
going to do door-to-door only. That was kind of our whole theme or idea was door-to-door only, but we would help other people and do other things. But we had we wanted one office that was dedicated to door-to-door guys. And that's direct salesmen as well. If you do pyramid scheme, not schemes, pyramid companies, or you work for companies like that. Yeah, then we would help people like that as well, or anyone on a 1099 for that matter. But our main focus was door to door, and he gave me an offer. He said, "Look, I'll make you a 45% owner in this office in Provo if you come and run that office." And he was on board with the idea to do door-to-door only for that office, which was awesome. That's what I wanted to do, and it got me straight to where I wanted to be about 2 years quicker than it would have taken me if I just went ahead and did it on my own. So I said, heck yeah. Plus it's my brother, and he was my best friend. And so we were on cloud nine, started building a company together.
Which is so exciting.
Yeah.
So fun.
It's
when
the
you see
funnest.
something that you've built, like get to the point where you're seeing, up to thousands of dollars a day coming in, and you're just like, this is so exciting. I can employ all these people. We have a successful business. Like, I don't think there's things that are more exciting than that when you build something.
Nobody holding
it's your
you
baby.
back.
Yeah, exactly. The skies are the limit now.
Yeah, you can dream as much as you want to dream at that point. And especially when the money's rolling in and the clients are rolling in, that feeling is, exacerbated. It's awesome. So yeah, we decided to really hone in, and we ended up getting Mason ended up coming in and getting us a agreement with Aptiv to be their preferred vendor. So that was huge. Aptiv's like, as far as I know, the biggest door-to-door pest control company. Sales company in the U.S. So we were on cloud nine, and we went from there. We used this strategy that we're going to talk about in our videos for doing LLC S corporations, and then over the next few years, we added in Fortress Financial, and
so everything's starting to grow.
Yeah, we just started expanding things, and we expanded the office space. We remodeled it. Yeah. I was the manager doing, I'd say 90% of everything going on out there in Provo. Jake, my brother, was running JB Logan, and it was this perfect synergy between him
like
and
traditional accounting.
Yeah, him and I.
Yeah.
If I got a client that was a partnership, that was confusing, I could send him to Jake. And if he got a door-to-door guy, he'd send him to me.
Yeah.
So, of course it was beneficial to him. He owned 55% of the firm, so he'd send him and help me grow. And I was thankful to him, so I'd send him clients to Logan and helped him grow significantly just from the stuff I referred to him. Because I think being in Utah Valley just gave me an advantage when it came to that. A lot more people, so I was getting many more clients and really helped him to grow Logan, helped him double it at least. And then in Provo, we were just growing. I grew it from 40 clients when I first started to 28 clients when I was finally, able to leave the company.
Wait, 40 to 28 clients?
2,800, sorry. Yeah, my bad. So 40 clients to 2,800 clients. So all the 1099 clients doing the LLC S Corp strategy. So it's a really good amount of revenue per client. And we had just figured a really cool system out and just started adding those extra services. It was at the most exciting time ever, really, when things between me and my brother broke down, and we decided that we were going to cut ties, go our own separate ways. And he let me out of a non-compete, and we ended up starting a business together, which is COS.
I think what's interesting about our whole beginning and situation is that we didn't even start as an accounting firm. We were actually that marketing company.
And that's what we wanted to do.
Exactly, because we were like, we can market not only for them, but we can also be a marketing company we could, sell clients to financial firms, or we could do all sorts of things here. And that's where for me, like it was one of those like who moved my cheese moments where all of a sudden like everything changed and we needed to redirect.
Yeah.
And I remember when we realized that all of a sudden we had 600 clients like day one, and we're like, oh boy, like we have to do quarterlies now. We need more people. We need an office. We need the tax software.
Need money. We're $80,000 in debt each.
Oh my gosh, we're so in debt.
No money has came in.
Our poor wives.
Our wives are crying. We're crying. We're trying to figure out what's going on.
How do we make payroll? December was the worst month in history. I think we made like a couple $1,000s, and that's it.
Yeah, it was very, very tough.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not want to start my own tax firm.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, yeah, you were so resistant.
Yeah, I mean, that's not what I already did it once.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do it again. I wanted something else, something special I could do with Mason. But it is my passion to save guys money, save people money on taxes. So, and it's what I'm best at. So it's kind of doing myself and people a disservice by not continuing to do that. So once we were able to start our own firm and once we kind of got past the first few annoying steps, I was on cloud nine again with a new partner that was, has become my best friend and somebody I can trust with anything, just like you would trust, your best friend, your brother, your dad. He's that for me. He's my brother. He's my best friend.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. And I will always trust him. And he can tell you the level of which I've trusted him. I've put every last bit of trust into him that's possible because I believe that's what you have to do if you want a true partnership that can grow and become something that's extremely special.
I think Zach and I are really similar in some things, but we're also really different. And that when you have a partner who is so different in many ways, sometimes it can be a good thing, but there are other times where you can clash. And I don't think we've had, knock on wood, right? I don't think we've had an argument since before we started the firm.
Yeah.
And I think...
even with all the problems we've had.
with all the issues that we've had, and maybe it's because in our minds there was somebody else to be upset about, and that would help us come together. But I think both of us have been reasonable enough with each other to understand, hey, I'm really passionate about this thing, or I really need this, or this is I need a couple days off, like. For me, I'm like, I need money. I need to be there for my spouse and for my kids, and I need to have a regular schedule. And if you're expecting me to come in and work, my butt off, and I do, I think, but in terms of working hours beyond regular job.
Yeah, you had your set of what you wanted to do, and I respect that. I work Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. until 1 or 2 in the morning. He does the Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Neither one is better. One is just me, and one is him. I'm diehard for this company and would die for it, and I feel he's the exact same way. But it doesn't mean he's got to be sleeping at the office like I do. But yeah, we both give it our all, and we see those differences, and we respect each other. That's what a partnership is. I respect his beliefs, his views, and, I actually want to get to be more and more like him. I'm starting to try and model my life around a lot of the things he does, including not working 9 to 5. I want my family down here in Provo. I want to be able to go home to him every night. Those things, seeing that balance and what it can do for you in your life and in business has been a very important lesson for me to learn that maybe I didn't learn before at JB when I was just trying to give my life to the firm to show my brother my appreciation of what I could do for him. I need to get past that and realize that it's my wife and my son that I need to show that to. And he's really helped me to see that stuff outside of work, personal stuff, that he's just really helped me on, and I appreciate it for it.
Thanks, man. One question I have. So, taxes, they're not sexy. It's not something that is, in fact, most people hate taxes. Nobody knows how to do it, right, typically. There's programs that exist, TurboTax, things like that. Why did you choose taxes? Out of all the things that you could have gone into, venture capital and these things that are, people are making millionaire.
Sexy,
Yeah, they're multi-millionaires doing that sort of thing, or big-time real estate investing. Like, why start with taxes?
So perfect question, because I didn't want to start with taxes. I wanted to start doing, big real estate deals and doing financial planning and retirement planning. But, the books I had read really made it the way I wanted to do my financial company was the way that we are now doing Fortress Financial, which means that we aren't taking massive amounts of money from each client. Like if you go to Edward Jones or Northwestern Mutual or something like that, you have to have a minimum amount of money to go into the account to be able to put into ETFs only. ETFs are funds that charge a much lower rate, maybe 0.15% is their rate that they charge to have money in their fund, whereas a mutual fund might charge anywhere from 2 to 8%. And these bigger firms will make you put your money in mutual funds, and all they have to do is tell you, we charge a 1.5% fee. That's it. But in the prospectus, they have to lay out where they get kickbacks from funds. So the mutual funds give kickbacks.
Interesting.
So they end up taking a much higher rate than what they're saying they're taking, and it ends up taking from the client. And over time, that the money they're taking from them,
compound interest.
exactly. That's
Nailed
the
it.
idea.
Connected it all.
Compounding interest. For compound interest. Whatever it is, compounding interest, compound interest. Well, that was the whole idea. I wanted people to be able to grow to $50 and $100 million. If you're taking an extra 2 to 3% out of somebody's account, it's going to cut someone's account that would have been $100 million down to 8 or 9 million. Like then the difference is very drastic over a 40-year period of time.
So the institution itself, or the agent, or the
Both.
The advisor is the one.
The advisor's taking his 1.5%, but then the company is getting their kickbacks from the mutual funds.
Yeah.
That's why they have like a $200K minimum to be in all ETFs.
Interesting.
At Fortress, we have a $5K minimum. So if you're going to start an account, you can automatically be in just ETFs, which means we're not making a single extra penny outside of what we tell you up front we're making. So I knew that I couldn't start that company up front and make money quick. It would take me 4 or 5 years to turn a profit. And that's where we're at now with me and Jaron Monk and Mason now, is that we're going to start turning a profit in the next year, finally. And we've added in millions and millions of dollars in assets. But that just goes to show that we care more about the client, because we've been very profitable in the accounts to the tune of around 14 to 15% per year average. So that's huge.
Yeah.
We should be profiting if we were a normal financial firm, but we're just not. We don't push IULs on people. Yeah. Like, I'll bet you there's people in this room that have IULs because somebody has told them it's a great investment, it's the only place to put your money. Guess what? It's the worst of the investments, and it's the biggest commission to the person that's supposed to be helping you. If you just did a term life policy and a solo 401k, you're going to triple your money at least. So it's crazy the difference between what we do and these other firms do.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that was the whole reason. I wanted something Warren Buffett told me from his books that's boring, that will make good money, become the best at it. And in doing so, I've came to absolutely love taxation and finding the cool loopholes and things that we can do to save and get people money, like the ERC.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just awesome things that actually change people's lives. So that's kind of the reason, and then what it's turned into, why I continue to do it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess maybe last thing we talk about on our first podcast is like the goal. What is it, when you see like somebody listening or watching this, what is it that you want them to get from, obviously we're talking about our stories here, and we'll have people come on and tell about their strategies and different things that they do. But like what is it that you in your mind you
Cool.
want somebody to come away with?
So I'm hoping that people watch all the way to this point because this is where the excitement should come for you. Because my goal with my life and what I do every day, and same with everybody at COS, our goal is to make you as wealthy as possible. How so? In the next year, we have some of the coolest things coming out.
Yeah,
we will be adding new services that will continue to allow you to lower your taxes due. And everything we hired a tax attorney that's going to be checking every last step of each process we do, so that if people get audited, we go, here you go, and okay,
it's up to
you're
code.
fine. Yeah, everything's up to code and perfect. All the while doing it for about a fifth of the cost of these other firms that do that level of tax strategizing. Also, I just started doing the coaching. So now I'm coaching with my clients. I haven't even talked to that many people about it, but the first 20 to 30 that I've talked to about
They're
it
like, we want monthly coaching.
are automatic. They're
quarterly.
doing monthly or bi-monthly or quarterly coaching. It's $50 for a half hour. At some point, that's going to go up, but right now that's super cheap for what I give you. I mean, you're going to put tens of thousands of dollars in your pocket, if not millions.
And maybe in this we can include a link somewhere for someone to schedule a meeting with me or you, or they can have a strategy meeting.
Go below, for a link for that. And so we start with my simple steps to become somebody that wants to build their wealth by doing rental properties, and then we go to the next step, which is going to be doing cost segregation with accelerated depreciation on large commercial properties, which we will hold for 5 to 7 years, and then do 1031 like-kind exchange into a new property, creating massive increase in net worth, compounding net worth.
Compounding interest.
Exactly.
Nailed it.
So year over year, and at a rate that's absurd. So we will in the next year have an offering for clients to be able to invest in a property that we will be renting out probably an entire floor. So we're almost guaranteeing profitability from the beginning. People will be able to put money into it. It's going to be a cost segregation building. So we'll break it all down, get you a huge loss on your tax return, while also getting you cash flow monthly. And maybe it's paid out quarterly, but cash flowing. And then also the huge appreciation that can happen with those properties as you take an empty building and then turn it into a full, robust building with maxed out rents. You might make a $10 million building into a $20 million building in 5 to 7 years. So the returns are just out of this world, especially when you think about the fact that you only put 20% down on that first property. So you're not just doubling your money, you're 5xing your money over that time, just on appreciation, if you went from 10 to 20 million. And then you're going to 3x your money on the tax savings, and then you're going to 1x your money on the cash. I mean, we're talking become rich from doing a few of these. So it's amazing, it's exciting. Be excited. I hope you are. I am. This is going to be fun. Tune in.
Yeah, I think, I guess to end, I would say the same thing. I think there's a lot of things that we're learning new strategies all the time that we're like, oh my gosh, why don't more people know about this? And I think that's, for me, one thing that I want to make sure people know is that there's tons of opportunities out there for you to either invest or save or and they're just not widely broadcast for some reason or another. There's the financial education throughout the country is terrible. The insane amount of debt that even our country has is just, it's wild. So I think a lot more prudence and some
coaching.
Financial literacy I think is really key.
Yeah, that's the goal. Another goal is just teaching you.
I mean, we've had to try over and over again. We've started not just, COS accounting, but we've started other little side hustles and businesses. And so we've seen, from the get-go, what it takes to start all the way to find it, to be a successful business. I guess I would say our goal is to give a little more financial education or literacy to people who, who don't know
Yeah.
where to start.
On top of
Right?
the tax service. That's
And-
why it's a synergy thing.
And understand
idea.
that there are so many programs out there that they're designed as quick get-rich-quick schemes, and we've even looked into some of those, and it ends up almost in every scenario a waste of your time and a waste of your money. The tried and true principles are the ones that exist in many cases in the tax code, or they exist for people who the wealthy understand taxes.
Yep.
They understand
'Cause they
financial
pay a-
print.
they pay a tax accountant,
an accountant or an
Yeah.
attorney
Yeah.
to be able to investigate those things for them, and then they implement them. And I think that's what people are missing, is that they don't have that opportunity available. So
Absolutely.
yep. Okay.
Awesome.
So that was number 1.
Yep.
All done.
Thank
Okay.
you.